Words that do not match, deeds are not important. Or words that do not match, deeds are not important.
Some say love is a burning thing.
This is Phosphorescent,
Let it make
song for Zula. Probably been one of my favorite songs for a while.
as a fading just
I'm struggling with a lot of judgment. Struggling with acceptance, loving myself. It's like fuck. I hear myself through headphones and I kind of like I don't sound confident. But I don't know. There's only I can say that, but the whole thing is just not concerning myself with things outside of myself. It's okay to care, but it comes like there's these points of just finding moments in peace, and quiet, and in the world that we create for ourselves. I mean, there's a lot of bad things that happen every day, but I don't like to magnify those things. I'm aware of them. I don't always accept them, but I do like, I like letting go of those things. I like maybe feeling a little bit of empathy or compassion for the world around me. But the more and more I focus on, I guess, the negative, the more it makes things more hectic and just harder to cope with. I like spending time alone because I don't have to hear things that I guess could divert my judgment or divert my expectations of what life is and like what it does for me when I'm around people. I think I'm impressionable, pick up a lot of habits, a lot of just a lot of character traits in others. Some good and some bad, but mostly I'm just me. I accept me for me. I try not to comparative think or beat up others for like their beliefs, but that's where my judgments and my ego come into play. I've always heard that ego is an acronym for edging God out, which is pretty cool. And for me, it's simple. It's simple to look at it from a quote. It shortens something so much more meaningful to where it makes it less thought to have to think about what it actually means. And that's real. That's just where I'm at with things. But I don't know. I like listening to podcasts, to music, to comedians, to different artists talk about expressive nature within themselves and what helps them get to that point of just forcing themselves to get off the couch and create. I like watching others a lot as well. Just kind of see what works for them, and I see things that don't mostly. And that's judgment. That's judgment right there. It's a hard pill to swallow sometimes whenever I see it. Sometimes I just want to quiet the world around me and just kind of, shine the spotlight that's the sun on who I am, and just let that light shine on. I like to get out by myself, do a lot of things alone. That way I force myself to be uncomfortable and I learn, you know. It's always good to be uncomfortable because you can kind of be uncomfortable until the point you are comfortable. It's like fitting in tight jeans or something, or a tight shirt. It's like eventually, the more you wear it, the better it'll fit. Or if you're just really into self-help, you might do some physical self-help, like working out or things. That's always kind of hard for me to push myself to go past my limits, and I have all these justifications for why I don't like to do that kind of stuff. But ultimately, I know I want to, and something in me just stops me. You know, it's like a blockade. I always think that my biggest obstacle is myself, and that's the tallest wall to claw, or the tallest wall to climb. And I just, you know, I want to do better for myself more and more each and every day. I want to force myself to do a little more, to learn a little more, to kind of challenge myself. I don't want to just do these small fucking save $100 a week or whatever. You know, that might be good for me, but that's so surface level. And it might be deep as a wallet, or as deep as a pocket. But it's kind of, you know, I'm more thinking inward at myself. And I clean my room a lot more lately, and it's just it's helped. It's like my space in here, my space by myself. It's kind of like, you know, and I'm not necessarily an introvert. I like to get out. I like to talk. I like to do things. I do. I like to see others. I like to observe. I like to see people in struggle that are willing to get better, and that actually live through action, because it kind of forces me to not be lazy and complacent with getting comfortable and just you know, being half-ass about things. You know, I don't want to just settle, and I never have. I've known that there's more out there, you know, for me, for my family, and I wasn't always the brightest kid. I wasn't always the greatest kid. I like to believe I was at times, but ultimately deep down, I look at it and I analyze it, and it's like, well, fuck, at least I'm improving, and that's a lot to keep me going. Like, instead of sitting here listen to my buddy, you know, just go off about stuff. I wanted to hear a well thought out thought, and you know, I wanted to vocalize it. I wanted to record it, and this is my first actual attempt at doing a podcast. But I mean, whatever. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And for me, the microphone's working, so it works. You know, all it takes is a little action, and just being uncomfortable for a second and choosing the next right thing. So I found this as the opportune time to, and I have this little 12-step program book. It's called Keep It Simple, and it's a little daily meditation thing where each page is a date, and each date is obviously in numerical order, or chronological order. So it you know, it's easy for me to just focus on that one little thing, because I have so many other things I focus on, and it's simple for me. It keeps it simple. It doesn't make me overcomplicate self-help or trying to force myself to do stuff, because I don't like being forced by other people to do things. I know I need it sometimes, depending on who the person is, and also depending on where they're coming from with that and where I'm at that moment. But I like to kind of separate myself from a lot of things that just cause chaos in my mind, and I like to do that for at least an extended period of time until I know I'm ready to handle that situation. Fuck, I'm just kind of rambling, but I like this minimalistic thinking for my complex I don't know. I'm not gonna give myself that much credit. It's hard for me to take. It's actually really hard for me to take a compliment from somebody. Somebody will say I love you, and like I hear it, and I kind of feel it for a moment. Just a little break in that crack or in the shell. But I ultimately like I like just. I like to think that I'm not okay just being okay. And I've been hearing that a lot. I've been hearing myself say that a lot and think that. So it's cool. It's kind of self-awareness to where it's a point to where I recognize the problem and I know what I can do to help myself. I may not know exactly what it is I need to do, but I know what I don't need to do. And it's hard to do things that your mind is telling you to do because the ego speaks louder than your actual faith. And that's how it always is for me. And life is beautiful, and I don't always treat it like that because I'm constantly thinking about what needs to get done or what I did wrong or and it's even just daily. I think about the things I do wrong, like I don't know. I sit like when I used to smoke weed. I would come home and I would smoke, and I think it's just time to relax. But then I would sit and just think, and my mind would just go nuts, and it was more frantic than it usually ever is when I would do that. And it's just funny how those expectations of things aren't always how you expect them. You expect to smoke and maybe throw on a Joe Rogan podcast or just veg out for a moment and maybe read something but for me, my brain, when I get high or when I got high, it never stayed quiet. It never actually let me learn anything. It never let me read. It never let me actually focus on what was actually in front of me. All I could do was focus on what was behind me. And I think that relates to this one thing I was thinking about all week. And it's like how our behaviors reflect in our driving methods. Like it's like, why am I always, like, I'll have a destination, and it's like I know I'm going to get there, and I give myself enough time to where I could get there, but I'm in such a hurry just to get that ride over with, and the whole time I'm sitting there, and I'm looking in the rearview mirror, I'm constantly fucking trying to pass people up. And it's not a good reflection of what my principles are. But back to that driving behavioral thing. I look at it and I'm kind of like, man, why do I sit there and why do I want to keep looking back? Why do I keep looking in the rearview mirror? Like, if I just take a little second, pay attention to the road and know the rules and drive safely, drive the speed limit. What am I so worried about if this guy's speeding up behind me? What am I so worried about behind me? Even if there's no car behind me, I'll sit there and I'll keep checking until there is. And then when there is, I'll check even more. And I don't know, it's like, do I trust the road? Do I trust the road ahead? Because I'm always going to get there if I abide by the rules. If I follow what I know, and I accept what I don't know, and I strive to kind of pick up some kind of tool along the way, some kind of thing I learned through experience, or some kind of thing I learned through pain, or something that I hear in an AA meeting, or something that my dad will say to me, or or just, something I might read in my daily reflection book. And it's just kind of like, just let go and let live. Just move forward. You know the road ahead won't exactly be how you expect. And you'll get there when you get there. Like I think I heard Theo Vaughn say I'm like a piece of origami, and I'm this piece of paper, and God just set me here, and He's folding me up, and He's the origami maker, and I'm like upset with how I look, or what my function is as far as like being that sheet of paper, but God's not done yet folding me, He's not done yet. He's not done. And He's done this now for 25 years. And it's real cool to kind of look at it that way, because it's simple. It's a simple, really deep way of looking at it. And it helps me kind of like well, fuck, I took something from that. It wasn't thievery. It was experience. And it was respect. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing when you see somebody that you kind of look up to, or somebody that you even spend time with all the time. And for me, I watch a lot of podcasts. I spent a lot of time listening to Theo Vaughn this past weekend. I listened to Brendan Schaub, The Fighter and the Kid. I listened to a lot of Poppy, the basics, I guess, of that whole podcast world as far as comedians go. But I like to pick something up from each of those conversations or each of those episodes, or I like to take a little something with me, a little message, and apply it in the best way I can. I always heard, look for the similarities, not the differences. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a very, I don't know, I don't know the right word for it, but it's helpful. It's helpful. And it's a miracle I heard a lot of those things when I knew I needed to hear those things, because I'm accepting, and I'm trying to accept more. But I don't know, I'm content with how this all came out. Content with how my voice sounds actually now. And I like to say that if you listen to this, I appreciate it a lot. And I hope that everything goes well for anybody listening to this. And I hope that you can find something in this that helps you. But yeah, thanks a lot. I love you all. Have a good one.